Hello everyone. Welcome to the session today. Um, we are today going to be a very interesting session. We're going to talk about a topic that I believe that everyone is hearing a lot about, and not everyone actually have the chance to work with it and develop your own agents and so on. And I think it's interesting to see what kind of tools we have to use these days, and how we can actually make effective use of them. And that is, I believe, that would be the biggest difference from professional users and uh, non-professionals. But before, let me say hello to the people here. So, hello, Chila. How are you?
Hello, Hugo, Tiago, and everyone who is joining us today. So, good evening or good afternoon. I'm looking forward to this conversation, which is going to be a very interesting one, I guess. So, I'm looking for hearing the latest development, what's happening, what's good, what can be better, and of course, all the experience from our guest today.
Excellent, excellent. And let me say hello to Thiago. Hey, Thiago, how are you, man?
Hello, Yogo. Hello, everyone. Hello, Chila. Hello, everyone from the chat. I'm great, and it's a pleasure to be here, learning more about this hot topic. I think it's a very hot topic nowadays. Many people talking about, and I think it's the present and the future, right? So, yeah.
Excellent. Yes, it is a hot topic. I just see here a message from Luis. Hey, Luis, how are you? Great to have you here. So, if you are watching us, please say hello here on the comments on the chat, so we can also bring your questions or discussions here on the table. And yeah, feel free to also share your experience. I also have been trying to discover what is the best fit for my day to day and work for agentic assistants for coding or whatever tasks I have to do. And yeah, without having to take longer, I would like to call. Oh, sorry, but the guest today is a friend of mine for a long time already, and he is from Colombia. I just want to call him here so he can introduce himself. So, hello, Juan. How are you, man?
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. A pleasure. Doing well. How are you guys?
Great to have you here. And yeah, Juan, we discussed it a bit, very quick here on the backstages, and let's talk about this specifically about the cursor, right? That you have been using on your day-to-day development, also your own projects, your personal project as well, and I think it's interesting how these everyone is talking that, oh, this is transforming all the way we do development, software development in general. But can you quickly maybe say a bit about what is cursor and what is this agentic cursor that it's a new feature, right? It's a recent feature for these tool, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I started using Cursor. Think of your ID, regular ID. It's like VS Code, like any text editor. But I think it was one of the pioneers to take the developer experience to the next level when working with agents and tools. And when it started doing so, others started copying the same behavior. And right now we have Cloud Code, we have several integrations and several older tools that work pretty well with this agentic programming. And I don't recall exactly, but in the past year I have been very involved in the topic, and it's been super useful to boost the development productivity, and I have had great results both with Cursor, and I see in the comments Cloud Code, Anthropic, which is the company behind those tools, is leading the how can I say, the trend of not only code completion but code generation um, using agents and tools.
Yeah, you mentioned a very interesting thing. It's about the entropy being behind all these tools, right? I'm not sure. Cursor also uses entropic models behind the to
Hmm.
complete the code. Okay, excellent. Right? Because my experience, it's more using GitHub Copilot on the work, and have been awesome. And quickly I realized that yeah, I'm only using entropic model behind because all the others is actually doesn't beat the experience I had, and yeah, it has been my default as well. Um, and in the past, I have been I have talked about Klein. That is a open source version of something similar to GitHub Copilot about Cursor, and yeah, also the experience, at least the last time I used it. Yeah, the other solutions, the paid solutions have evolved really quick. But
Hmm.
let me also just call a guy that have been talking about vibe coding as well, and good practices. I just want to get this opportunity here. So hello, Pedro. Good to have you here, man.
Hey, hello everybody. Sorry I'm late. It's still 4 p.m. here for me, so it's
Oh yeah,
yeah. This time is sometimes hard, but yeah, I would love to hear about what we are going to say about AI here.
excellent, excellent. And just say hello to also Andres that is that mentioned code. So yeah, Andres, I also trying to experiment cloud code here. Uh, Unfortunately, the pricing for me it's a bit harsh to be paying it, but yeah, worth for experimenting. But hold on, uh, what about Cursor? What do you say about Cursor? Have you been using other tools despite
Yeah, yeah.
Cursor, and how do you see the difference and why you keep with Cursor? I don't know if you keep only with Cursor. Tell a bit
Yeah.
about
So
your journey.
I think there isn't a silver bullet here, and you have to use what works for you. But I have been to changing between Cursor, Cloud Code, and more recently Tidewave. The whole idea, in my perspective, is that we want the agents to be more like to become partners in our development process. And think about a front end developer. When a front end developer is working on a task, many things rely on visual experimentation, visual things. So tools like Tideway, they go along your browser. So you're working on your browser with the agent, and you're seeing immediately those changes being made to your website or to your application, for example. So it's like a pyramid of where are you using the agents. Then for unit testing, I just use all the models from Cursor directly because the interaction is closer to my IDE and it works best. But then you have other tools that go in the middle, and that's where Cloud Code excels, which is when you have a tool that can be independently solving a problem for you, and you want to see that there's a run mode in Cloud Code, which is called the party mode, where you can have multiple agents, like 8 agents, solving a problem, and they will coordinate between themselves towards that goal, and they will orchestrate to that solution. So in the end, it's a different tool for whatever you're working with, and I use the three of them in my day to day.
Excellent. I don't know if Pedro or Thiago have any comment. Please don't let me having all the time take all the time here. But you mentioned it about this user experience for specific use cases, and I totally believe on that. It's very difficult to think about a interface that can be general for every task we want to do. And when we are specific, like on IDE, that we have developers have very specific needs during the development process, I see that, okay, this is the way that integration should work, and the experience, it's best for a developer, not for general, because ChatGPT we can chat and solve some stuff, uh, and but having it integrated into your tool. I see Luis mentioned about Juni, that is a AI for intelligent, right? Right, Luis, if I'm not
Yes.
wrong, yeah. So integrated with your IDE, I think the IDE is already the best user experience for the developer. So the AI integrated IDE makes a lot of sense for me.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can add one thing. Interesting, you mentioned it. I had the same opinion here. Like, oh, I love to have the AI to be integrated with my IDE, so that's why I still with Cursor. But it's not true for everybody, right? I have a friend that loves Cloud Code and he hates Cursor. He starts saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
Cursor is not good for me," and I am having every time I have to switch to Cursor, I hate it. And I say,
Mm.
"Wow, that's interesting." I said, "Why?" But I say because he is already completely integrated with Cloud Code in a way that he knows what to do, he knows where to look, and he wants to work in a way that he doesn't want to go to the code and write himself. So he
Mm.
wants to work with Cloud Code in a way that Cloud Code writes all the code. So this is something. Yeah, this is something Andrews is saying. I'm like Pedro friend. Yeah, because this is another way of work. Interesting enough, I was talking to this guy and I say, and we are seeing this changing in our developers' way of working, and I think this is
Mhm.
something that's happening with all this AI tools.
And Shimon, do you have some specific killer features that you have been identified with the cursor or anything?
Yeah. There's something that is, well, I'm not sure if everybody uses it, but in Cursor and probably Cloud Code has it. You have two modes. One of them is the agent mode, and one of them is the plan mode. So in the plan mode, you're just having a conversation, discussion with a partner, like, hey, let's debate, let's brainstorm ideas. Because otherwise, if you go straight into the problem with the agent mode, it will start, going nuts, starting editing files, and you're like, hey, whoa, wait a second, don't do that. So it's worth it to spend a little bit of time on the plan mode, and then agreeing on what's the plan before jumping into the code modifications. And another thing is, this works for every team. I don't work with Java. I work with Elixir,
Mhm.
and it's more rare, I would say. But in the end, we have like the framework that we use, the web framework. When you install it, it already comes with a file called agents.md for tools like Cursor, and then we extended that. We create our own files. We can instruct and let the agents know how we want to code in our company. What are the guidelines that we follow? Despite Elixir, differently from many languages, it is a very opinionated language. So the outcomes and the code generated is in a way more standardized compared to other projects and to other people writing Elixir as well. So that's why it is really, really effective.
I
Interesting.
remember. Yeah, go ahead. I remember a tweet about the language that the models uh, best generate the results. And I think it was Juan, it was you that shared with me, and it was interesting because
Yeah.
if you try uh, to to uh, to give a shot on what kind of what is the best language, or which language have a better outcome when we do ask to create to generate code, and they made these benchmarks and so on. It was very interesting and it was surprising. I don't know if I ask anyone here, what do you think is the language that has highest score? It
Python.
was
And by high score, we mean like when generating
yes,
code, which
yeah,
language has more accuracy
accuracy,
doing
yeah,
that?
excellent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I vote for Python.
Yeah,
Excellent choice, but wrong.
yeah, yeah. Me too, of course. It
It's
is.
a good bet. It's a good bet.
Yes, it's a good bet because we all the things we see, we think that, oh, AI, so they have lots of examples, and it would be it would have more patterns to learn and so on. And incredibly, Python was one of the uh, not the worst, but very low in that score, and and the highest one, it was Elixir. And I yeah and Java, it was on the middle, but
Mhm.
if we think a bit harder on the question, we start to understand, because if you think about Python environments and Python repository codes, we see a lot of examples that is on Python 2 that is completely different from Python 3, and they don't have the standard that Juan just mentioned. So they don't, each project, it's very close to, I don't know, some examples. JavaScript, I think, is each one has their own standard, their own way, and they are not very converging patterns. So I think it makes sense to not be the best language for the to generate to find a pattern that can generate good code. And yeah, it was interesting who shared that about standard, right?
Yeah, I was trying to comment like the paper link in the chat, but I don't have it. Well, I will send it later. Uh, but yeah, as I was saying, given that it's such an opinionated language,
Mhm.
uh, there are not so many ways to do things. It's like this folder is for this folder is for that. So it tends to be very, very, very good at code generation.
And
And
Andres would say JavaScript next. Every time I vote. Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead, Pedro.
I would ask about how do you use Corso. You said that you organize your configuration to work with this opinionated way of writing Elixir. So how it in your Corso, how do you organize that? It uses Corso roles, commands. What do you use?
But are you asking about how we do like the projects themselves, or how do we tell Cursor the instructions? I mean, I'm not sure if I
Both,
understood.
both.
So, by as I was saying, Elixir, like, I don't know what's the percentage, but 85, 90% of the applications written in Elixir use one framework that is called Phoenix. There are other frameworks, right? And when you install that framework today, it comes with an agents.md, and the community has set up a set of rules. It's a giant file which says, hey, do this, don't do that. Some nuances that models tend to use, for example, if else's or things like that are specific to functional programming, to features from Elixir like pattern matching and macros and everything. They try to specify all of that so that the models don't do it like most of the other languages do, right? Um, Especially because it's a functional programming language. So things like that help a lot, to be honest. Um, and being purely sincere, it doesn't require too much customization to be good. It is good naturally. So that's one of the impressive things. But take these with a bit of salt, which is like this paper. It uses some benchmarks. I haven't gotten deep into what benchmarks they use, what kind of problems they solve. Uh, we don't know. It's just one paper. There are many other papers that might say Python is the best one as well. I don't know.
And I think one of the questions that most arises, especially when we talk about code generation, actually we have this vibe coding. We already discussed a bit about difference of vibe coding and doing something more, we say, more professional use by effectively using vibe coding. We call those here, Pedro, you mentioned code, and when you have to take care about it, you have to know some guardrails, something that can generate reliable code. um, do you have some? I don't know. I think we can go with how do you use on your day to day, and what is some effective that tips that you can give that is effective to have effective results, right? Because I went sometimes on by asking things, and then it was a total mess, and I prefer to create to delete all of these things that generated and restart again from zero. And sometimes it does hallucinate and create something, import some library that doesn't exist, or the version is totally out of the of the range, and so on. So yeah, I would like to hear what is effective way that you have been experiencing and that have been helping you become an effective developer with these agents.
So did you ask Pedro or?
You. What?
Okay, okay. Sorry. I was completely waiting for Pedro's response. So you know what? In the end, there have been levels of utilization, and in the past year, there were a couple of months where I was just working on such a hard project. We were migrating from ClickHouse to Snowflake, and we had to come up with really, really complex queries. And those queries had to be written in Elixir's, let's say, ORM syntax, not like pure SQL. I spent like months trying to solve a problem and like trying those models to do the work for me. It was effortless. In the end, I came up with a solution. I invented something that made it work. But it was okay. In the past months, it has gotten much better. And so in the day to day, I would say top one is like writing tests. That's like the feature killer. I tell it like, I just made these changes, implement tests, or you can even define the tests header, and it will implement the code for you, right? So I think it is also beneficial to learn from your code base. And I can say our code base is pretty well structured, and I'm really proud of our code base. So it provides the generations based on the standards that it learns from the similar code base. So that's pretty effective. But I don't use it vibe coding like do this for me. I mean, not really in a regular basis for my work. That's not how I use it. However, I did an experiment in the past month where I built an entire product like 90% with vibe coding just because I wanted a quick MVP. And this week I was reading the code. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so horrible here. But in the end, for experimentation is super good. And I would say that nowadays the amount of time between being stuck in a bug and solving it is just a blink, because every time I've been like really stuck with a bug or something that I can find, and I say, fix this damn test for me, it does it pretty well as well. So I would say most of the benefits I take from it is on the testing area. But on certain levels of the code generation, it works pretty well for me as well. But that's it. Not blind code, as people say.
Yeah, I think for documentation as well, right? At least it helps me a lot with documentation.
But haven't you seen that every time you ask something, this is especially with I don't know if all models work. I work almost most of the time with Cloud Sonnet 4.5, and it starts generating a myriad of markdown files explaining everything. And these last days I was like, "Dang, I need to configure something for it to stop doing that." I just hated creating thousands of markdown files with like, this is what I did, this is what I improved, blah, blah, blah. So it's a little bit verbose. um, but I mean, it's tremendously good. And I also don't know if you recently saw, there's a new model called Composer 1. It is absurdly fast. It's like 4 times faster than the previous models, and it generates code which is good, but it is so fast that you cannot even read through the plan that Cursor generates. So I was like, this is going so fast that it's starting to bother me. Like, hey, I need to keep up with what you're doing. Don't go away without me. Like, wait for me. So I just came back to Cloud Sonnet 4.5.
Composer, it is a model from the Cursor
From
or
Anthropic.
from Anthropic? Oh,
Yes.
I haven't seen it. I just see it today. I don't know when it releases, but Gemini also, or Google also releases Gemini 3, and it looks like a interesting one. I don't know for code, but it's for multimodal general uses. It looks like interesting, and yeah, we are seeing this evolution of these models getting better and better. I don't know if we are getting to some plateau, but yeah, do you think by getting this evolution, do you have any opinion regarding to how how people today, what is the best start for them that haven't yet started this using these all these tools?
So I think, unfortunately, senior engineers can benefit more from these tools because they can provide better instructions to the models, right? So the best interactions that I have had is when I have a clear idea, when I have a clear understanding of what has to be done, and I provide that context to the model. That it's not debatable. That's when it works best. Because when I have an unclear idea, it rambles more than I would. So it's complex if you don't have the foundations. Like, many people is saying like, now I can create an application without an understanding of even how to code, but I tend to disagree, because for you to like be effective with all these tools, you have to know what you're doing. That's my perspective at the very least. So um, for beginners, I would say, start small. Start with small features, and as I was saying, like, write these tests for me for the code that I just wrote, or uh, what ways you see this piece of code can be improved. And there's also uh, a learning part here. I have learned a lot from the code generations. Like, I have learned features that I wasn't even aware that they existed. And when I doubt about something, like it looks like weird, I'd say like, are you sure what you're doing? Can you research the documentation, or what's the source? Where did you grab that information from? And sometimes it says, look at this is the documentation. Other times it says, no, I was wrong. I invented this. But the hallucinations have reduced considerably in the past year.
Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Um, I haven't asked you before. I have asked you before. I'm not sure what was your. If you have anything you would like to share with people that can illustrate the cursor, how cursor works. I don't know if you have prepared anything, but if you don't. It was just a curiosity. Because I tried with the Cloud Code but very few. I generate some stuff that it's interesting, but as you said, I didn't know this party mode, and you just let it multiple agents working on that. But as expected on Entropic model, start creating stuff very. It's a very good result so far. Right.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been fighting a lot with a few problems. There's a product that I'm launching, and as part of that, I requested Google authorization for signing up, right? There's a process that you have to follow. So Cursor, it's been super helpful adjusting my website to comply with those requests that Google needs. So, for instance, there are some meta tags that you have no idea what they do, but they're relevant. So, I learned today about something called what was that? The the canonical URL, because you have your website that can be accessed like www.yourwebsite.com or just yourwebsite.com. So you can tell Google what is the best source for it to index and all those things. I mean, it's super specific. I have never done this before, and I just learned it super quickly from them. Um, Also, things like you have this image and image conversion from SVG to PNG or vice versa. And one of the things that I've done recently a lot is providing images of some errors. So, you know, who hasn't struggled with a little bit of CSS during our lives, right? So I just say like, this layout is super broken in mobile application. Help me fix that. It is not responsive, and it looks like that's interesting. It looks like the grid layout isn't properly configured. Let's adjust the responsiveness here with the breakpoints. So now it is being super helpful to provide images as well. But there's a file limit size, and the only thing that I may want to show that I think it's a little bit new to people. And may I share my screen pretty quick?
Yeah, sure. Are you sharing it? Let me put here on the screen. Yeah.
So something that the Elixir community is more aware of it, because the creator of this tool is the creator of Elixir. So he has been evangelizing it a little bit. So you can connect your local host, for example, to this application that is called Tidewave. And what it does is, as I was saying, is bringing the agentic experience to the browser. So you say like, I don't want this logo to say Momento, but Yugo Sakamoto, right? And one of the things is it is a little bit slow compared to your regular Cursor stuff, right? But I expect it to improve. I think the first part they want it to be really really compatible with many frameworks. So you have Django, Fast API, Flask, Next.js, Phoenix, and which is the one from Elixir, and Rails and React, and you connect that with your um, Anthropic account, or with your chat GPT, or sorry, with your OpenAI account, and you have now here the experience at the browser level. And I think this is super powerful. Whereas on the IDE side, you have here the plan, the ask, the agent mode, and this is the Composer One agent that I was talking about. So let's see, I don't know, refactor the landing page to have as much as it can in files separated. So I just want to see if it'll be that fast as it was with me recently. So as usual, this is I think you see, but look at that. The code generation, it's analyzing the files and it's being really really fast about look at that. I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? The credits of a movie? uh, so it is really really fast, but I I don't I didn't get much used to it because
It's
I don't
released,
know,
right?
it was absurdly fast. Um, and then you also have these, where is it, deployment guide. I think I might have deleted it, but yeah, there should be a file here called agents.md that your cursor ID will pick up automatically and will develop and produce code based on those guidelines. So that's been super helpful. But it's been a little bit of everything. And for those who haven't used cloud, it is just a terminal like things like update the here you have to be sure that you're working with the proper project, but update logo in the landing page back to Momento, and it'll work on itself more than that these one that you have to constantly provide feedback and say keep or stop or just undo all you did. um, but yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to share here. Nothing too deep, but it's super helpful.
Uh, I was curious. The tide wave will asking to put my name there over Momento. It has actually changed the file or
The
only the.
file,
Oh,
it changes the
it
file.
has access to
it,
the project.
it is connected to your IDE.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh,
but
that's
the
interesting.
interaction but the
Mhm.
interaction is through your
It's
browser. So
okay.
that's what I was saying, like it's more visual.
Interesting. And yeah, that's interesting. And it will understand even for, I don't know, when we use I'm imagining that, oh, I have a component in React that is imported and then that is my name there, you go. It will find the
So
component and so on. I probably you weren't able to do so far, I don't know. But it was some curious how it works.
yeah, I'm starting to use it more,
Mhm,
especially because I don't have front end tasks in
mhm,
my
mhm.
day to day too many. It's just this side project that I was working on that I was using live view, and I just wanted to see how it worked, and it works pretty well with the
Cool.
Elixir toolset. Mhm.
Mhm. Cool. Cool. Interesting.
And Juan,
Uh,
Go
okay,
ahead.
Go ahead,
it's
Thiago.
kind of another subject, but it's related with that. Because AI, it's not a new topic, but this kind of using this many agent, it is. And most of the companies nowadays, they like requires and they offer features and tools like Copilot and others for the developers. So they
Yes.
like they can use or they must use something like that. And I would like to know about these agents companies using or requiring to use this kind of tools, how it has been this.
So the companies that I have worked for, they incentivize a lot you to use, and they make available all these tools. So whatever you want, is it Anthropic, OpenAI, blah blah blah. So we don't have to pay for that, and that is great. Uh, because as Hugo was saying, if I had to pay myself for these agents, well, I don't know if I would have all of them. uh, so that's well that's one of the benefits that I have had with the company that I work for. But that's not the reality of everybody. I know, for example, a designer, a friend of mine, he was telling me, a company here in Brazil, that they had to share um, an API key, and you have a limit of utilization. So I don't know, you have, let's say, 2,000 tokens. So the team of four, 500 tokens for everybody. So you not only have to track how many tokens you've used, which is crazy, but my point is, this is not the reality of everybody. But the companies that are really, really trying to put AI features out, they are incentivizing a lot us to use. And I would say the entire team has been using those and taking advantage of them. It really, really can boost your productivity, and all those boring tasks now they can be leveraged to the AI partner.
Let's start with AI.
Yeah, I can say the same here. Just to complement, and here it's the same. Like my company is doing the same here. And for organizing that, we first had personal accounts in Cursor, for example, and then the company was paying. Now they changed it to enterprise, to use the enterprise account, because now they can share all the credits for all accounts, and then there are some heavy users like me, and there are like some occasional users like people from finance or from marketing or for whatever. They use it occasionally. So, and interesting enough, we have like different people from that are not devs using Cursor as well. So Cursor is one of the main tools here. Of course, I think it's because it's one of the first, right? The first good ones in terms of generating code and all this stuff. But I do think there is a little more than that, in a way that uh, organizing this enterprise account, it's not all tools have that, and it's interesting. The codex is interesting. I feel like cloud desktop is very interesting. I'm starting using a little here, just to see how it works. But for
Yeah.
non-developers, there is a different set of tools that we can use, like integration with Gmail or integration with Google Drive and something like that.
Yeah. But on the marketing space, I think there are many tools that are starting to use these models as well, because the creative process, not only for video but for image and so on, it it is crazy what these models can do. These Google Google ones, uh, it's View. I don't recall its name. And there's also this. It's kind of an IDE from OpenAI that is called Codex. A friend of mine is using it. He likes it. Haven't tried it yet, but it looks like it's also an option.
I share here on the chat the codex. I also haven't had any opportunity or to know someone or to use myself codex. I see that Andres is very Cloud big fan, Cloud Code big, and he uses Gemini for work, and that's interesting. I'm not I when I tried Gemini for some stuff, personal stuff, because I have this Google AI, Google One, because of the disk space that you get from the same subscription. But man, I don't know. I haven't had the best experience with it. A simple test. I use Anthropic model on the company on the company projects, and it's totally different level of quality.
Yeah, but I mean, it's undeniable that Anthropic is leading the code generation.
Cogeneration.
OpenAI is more enterprise level, where you have to orchestrate workflows, where you have to use RAG, even train your models. They have their layer and the feature to train your models. So it's like, it's pretty useful on that level. But for code generation, Anthropic is just really, really good.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
And their blog is amazing as well. I'm not sure if you've had the opportunity to follow some of the blog posts. They're creating tendencies, they're creating best practices and sharing, being really, really transparent with the community about what they have done right, and from what they have learned from their mistakes as well. So I think they're becoming a true standard of
mm,
engineering on this area.
yeah, true, true. Excellent.
They are.
Go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing. It's I saw on podcast they are talking about how they dug food, cloud cloud code inside Anthropic. So there are many of these new tools that we are seeing now, like skills or commands and all this new stuff they have. They that came from their own developers. They say, "Oh, I would love to have this," and then boom, and then they add that to the cloud code. People like it and say, "Okay, let's put in the public products," right? So they have this internal cloud code that where they try different things. that's that's pretty awesome. And I saw a little about what Google is doing launched today with Gemini
Yeah.
3,
Anti
and
gravity.
they yeah the lens to gravity, and they say, oh, this is looks very very interesting. I would love to try a little more, because I think everybody now is going to the agentic way of creating code, right? I've been doing that in Cursor. I tried in the first. I tried in Copilot when Copilot was having that in preview in the beginning of this year, and then of course I changed it to Cursor because it's much better. But now we have like plenty of agent modes we can try: Cursor, Cloud Code, Gemini, Anti-Gravity, Codex. Uh, I think now it's just a matter of like of you, how you know your tool or how you like it. Uh, but currently we are using Cursor, but I don't mind if I choose for Cloud Code, for example.
It would be interesting because have other options also can be how can I say can be challenging because when we had IDEs and you get used to single IDE, when you have to change IDEs, it was terrible because you don't remember the shortcuts, so you have to relearn everything. But these mods, they are quite, I don't know, since it's prompts and the way you write things, uh, yeah, maybe you don't have to have such a shortcut key map in your mind. I don't know. Uh, yeah, but by now, so far as Juan said,
I I used
yeah,
to say that people that like cloud code, they need a big screen. I mean, otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, you have to see it side by side in the end.
I see, I see.
Yeah, that's why I have two. I put like my cursor here and everything, and every time I'm using Cloud Code, I'm using the small screen here. And I say,
Yeah, that's a good tip.
yeah. Yeah, but something that I struggle, for example, is uh, I have here in the company we use Cursor for everything, so we use lots of Cursor features. So for each product we have Cursor rules. We have some Cursor commands. Uh, And of course, we are like using all the agent stuff in Cursor, so Cursor knows all these configurations. When I tried to use Cloud Code, I realized that okay, yeah, now I will miss all these things. So, and then I started using Cloud Code just to try out, and I realized that Cursor has Cloud Code has its own ways to configure stuff. So if you want to create a Cloud Code command, you need to use a specific way to do it. If you want to configure some, uh, interesting enough, Cloud Code doesn't have the idea of rules, right? They just have you can just configure some
Your
agent.md
agents.
or,
Yeah.
but in Cloud Code it's cloud.md, right?
Yeah.
And then you put everything inside the same project, and it's just one file. In Corso you can have like multiple files or multiple levels. It's very interesting. It's really
Yeah.
interesting. But even even the idea of like standardizing it, like agents.md stuff, I didn't see tools using the agent.md as a standard. Every time if you want to use agent.md as a standard, we need to configure it somewhere. uh, I try to use it in my own GitHub repositories agent.md, but I open in Gemini, it doesn't fit it. It doesn't see it. I open in Cloud Code, it doesn't see it. I open in Course, it doesn't see it. So I always said, okay, forget about it. It's just one more standard, like the XKCD uh, meme, you know. But this is something that I have problem. So I think every time we stick to a tool, we'll be there like for a while because we put all our life around it. Even though we are using Sonnet as model inside Cursor, you know,
Hmm.
this is not it's changing is not a easy stuff for sure.
And you mentioned about this agents, markdown, and any other instructions. I don't know. Have you been creating these instructions? Do you have any place that you have used as source to create a good instructions for these agents? I don't know if you mentioned that Elixir already have the some opinionated instructions, but otherwise, you mentioned that you have to customize with your company's guidelines. I don't know uh, how have you been how have been this experience? How have you been writing it that in a way that is effective?
So we have, let me open it here. We have the rules that Pedro was mentioning. We have, for example, general AI rules, ClickHouse rules, code style and structure, cursor rules, Ecto guidelines, which is focused on database, Elixir guidelines, Phoenix guidelines, and so on. So you pick up one topic per, because in the end, even though it's an opinionated language, there are intricacies for your project or for your company.
Yeah.
Uh, but it works pretty well. I mean, I don't. We picked up originally some rules that were like considered best practices as a whole, uh, and started iterating on these documents a bit. But nowadays, it's not something that we have to adjust very often. It's very rare. It
You
works well. Works
you made
well.
it once and still keeping that without having to make
Yeah,
much
yeah. I'm
maintenance.
I'm I'm curious to see what other languages
Mhm.
have to say it for the same reason. Like, I don't know if it's just because it's Elixir or if it's just because it works.
Yeah, we did here. What I did here was I created some rules, say architect for a specific repo. So architectural role. So what is the role architectural rules for that repo? How it works, how we divide folders, how where we put the files and stuff like that, and how we create tests and which tests we need to be created. And then I create the coding rules that's specific for how to code stuff. How to code an integration test for a repository, for example, and then some specific one and some more the general ones, or which mock library use and how to use that. You know, I put like and as one said, when after some iterations, the agent does so good. Like we ask a task, it goes and create all the files the way you like it, the way you would have written that with all the tests and run all the tests because he knows how to run, he knows how to write them, and it became so good you don't need to change it like for a while. It
Yeah.
keeps like that. Today, after like months, I had to add one row just because I was creating as part that we often don't mess in the code. And this was a small thing. Say, okay, when you log in this path, you use log like use the decorator like this. So boom, just to that specific thing that I saw he was doing incorrectly, and then I put the rule so he won't forget anymore. You know. So I think this when we create our repos and we iterate in these rules, ask we can ask directly the LLM, oh, create this rule for me, and it's going to create rule. I did that for a repo like last week, and they say, well, create all the rules. And okay, now it's correct, it's not correct, it's too much. Sometimes when it's too much, you need to summarize this, it's too much. And then we're iterating, okay, it's good. And then we keep like that, work a little, see if it works for you, if it works for that repo. If it is, skip. And yeah, and that I think this is the best way to make these agents work for us. When we have these rules or guidelines and stuff in place, we don't think about that anymore. And then the agent just work. And then when I see people like complaining about, oh, this system, this agent is not doing what I want, or this agent is doing stuff that I completely, it's completely insane, like Yoga said like in the beginning. I said, well, it doesn't happen with me. My day to day is not like that anymore. Like, it's
Cool.
kind of, we domesticated the
Domesticated. Yeah, cool, cool.
the guy,
So I can say that these tools came to stay, right? It's really useful if you, of course, if you use it, know how to use it in an effective way. Like Pedro said, if you, depending on the way you use, if you don't have these setup instructions, you're gonna be messing into the lot of generation, code generation. Um, so, but we are reaching here the almost the end of the session today, and today actually it's Juan's birthday, and I invited him, and he accepted this to be in the session, and he haven't remembered himself that it's his birthday, so his family is waiting for him, and I don't want to extend a lot today. But I just want to say a huge thanks for Juan to accepting being here. It was awesome discussion. I think we can keep talking, exchanging experiences regarding to this because it's a whole new, for me, it's a whole new experience about coding with it and lots of new standards, new patterns. I think I'm seeing, and great to have someone that been experimenting a lot, so we can share a lot. We can get to know a lot of these experience. But Juan, do you want to say some last words we got before I finish the session? What would be something that you would say to, I don't know, to encourage people?
Yeah, well, I think the final words would be just use it, see. up to what level it works for you. There's a lot of skepticism, and I started as a skeptical one because I consider that it took so long for me to jump into this train, uh, but it really makes a difference. And well, not only learning about the AI stuff, but if you don't like the AI stuff per se and just want to focus on the utilization of these tools, it's just worth it. I encourage everybody to try those and see how it works for you.
Excellent. Awesome. So that was today's sessions. Thanks, Andre. Say happy birthday, Juan. and yeah, so
Yeah, he asked Cloud Code to write that message, by the way.
okay. Cloud Code, keep watching the chat and listening the the session. So and write some good comments. Excellent. So thanks a lot again, Juan. Thanks everyone that joined us.
Thank you.
Yep.
If you can, I just want to share my blog.
Of course.
If anybody wants to follow, you can paste it in
Sure.
the chat. I write about AI, and if anyone is
Where is
interested, there are a
the
couple of. Let me
link?
see.
Let
Give
me
a
get
sec.
the link here.
You probably know it, but let me
Yeah,
see.
I got
There,
it here.
there you go. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Thanks for having me.
Regarding to
Wanna share your LinkedIn so people can.
yeah, if you want to share your social media, if you have, I think you have Twitter, right?
Yeah, I don't have LinkedIn. I have Twitter, but you can find it in that website as well.
Excellent. Okay, I share it here. So if you want to follow Juan and know his experience, there's a lot of interesting content regarding to AI. I've been following him, and yeah. So read the blog link here. I just pasted on the chat. And once again, Juan, thanks a lot. Thanks everyone here, and thanks especially the audience being watching us. And see you
Have a
next
great day.
session.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.